Here we go.
People who get it, get it.
You found the only geek culture showcast. The Geek Speak Show. The Geek Speak Show talks about and to the movers and shakers in geek culture. Powered by Collider.com, RamaScreen.com, and GeekTyrant.com. This is the Geek Speak Show. Featuring a revolving door of geek co-hosts.
It's all part of the plan.
This is now the Geek Speak Show with your host, Henry.
That's me. So, guess what we're going to talk about before we do?
Spoiler alert!
Okay, if you haven't seen it, too bad.
Yeah,
Let's talk
really,
about the
too
Avengers.
bad.
We were there. All of us were there at the midnight screenings. Go to our YouTube page. You get some of my reactions, some of your reactions, some of the people in line's reactions.
My very tired reactions at almost 3 a.m. I was very sleepy. Just like to put that caveat out there.
So whatever she said, well, it's already on tape, so it's too bad.
It's too late.
It's already there.
I sent it over. I knew what I was doing, but oh, the regret. No, it's great. It was so good.
I mean, no big dub, but what'd you guys think?
Honestly, it was the best superhero movie that I've ever seen. I haven't laughed that hard in a theater in years. It was so good, so much better than anybody thought it was going to be. I mean, everybody had high hopes. But
Not everybody.
Even better.
Some of us thought it was going to be pretty spectacular.
Oh, but it was. But it
was.
surpassed even that. I remember when I walked out of the theater, there was a bunch of people in front of me, and they were saying that because they had followed the characters for so long and everything, that there was one thing that they figured they were going to be mad about. And they couldn't think of one thing to be mad about, that it was so good.
No, exactly. The second time I saw the movie, I was sitting next to somebody and we became friends, like you do. And she was talking about how she'll go to these movies and normally there's one thing or two things that sort of bug her, but this one, nothing like that happened. And I had to agree. There was nothing that I really wanted to see done differently or dealt with in a different way. It was outside of even just a comic book movie. It was a stupendously amazing, awesome, big blockbuster action movie. It really just, I didn't care that it was superheroes doing the stuff. It was amazing coordination, amazing fights.
The effects were beautiful.
Oh, so good.
Seamless.
Seriously, I don't think I've enjoyed myself in a movie theater since Independence Day first came out. Like, just, well, okay, and then Serenity was also really good, but heart-wrenching and hard and difficult and sad and amazing and wonderful. But no, like, just straight out fun is Avengers. Just out and out.
Most fun I've had in a theater as well.
It was okay.
That is not true. I've seen your face after talking to about that movie, and you're just like, wow, your eyes,
it was
light
okay.
up, and your face kind of flushes a little bit.
No, you're right, Rachel. This is the best comic book movie. I mean, and it's for us geeks. The measure has not been The Dark Knight; has always been Richard Donner's Superman. This one, I think, will overtake it. Has overtaken it. Obviously, what is it, like 700 million worldwide now?
And you can take the whole family to this movie.
Yeah.
I saw little kids in the line enjoying it just as much.
I saw them dressed up.
Yeah, they were dressed up, and it was so. I love geek families. I love them so much.
I did call my mom and tell her that she needed to go see this in the theater so that later on she can say that she went. So it's one of those for sure. You're
right. It's like Star Wars. You want to be able to say I was there.
Yes,
exactly.
you do.
Yeah, and again, this is a great comic book movie because, especially towards the end when the Chitauri come in and the final battle begins, it's just like a comic book. There's stuff, especially with what happens to Loki and Hulk. That's right out of a comic book.
Oh, that's
God,
straight
that
out
was
of
so funny.
That was so funny. So, but even more than that, what I like about this is that this is what is really great about comic books is that you're getting these amazing visuals and you're getting this great action that's happening, but there's story and there's heart. So at this end, when this is like total spoiler, we've already warned you, but like Tony and his Iron Man is like he's flying up and he's in space and he's falling down and he's gonna be all like frozen and dead, and I'm like so sad, but he sacrificed himself because that was the story of his character. It was so good.
That would have been a perfect ending right there, because I could see.
No, Tony can't die.
No, I could see that being the last panel. Continued next issue. And that's what I mean by it was a perfect comic book movie.
But then when the Hulk saves him, that is like a lot of people's favorite moment.
And it had to be the Hulk because like the parallel between those two characters was so spot on.
But I think the other favorite is moments after that is the way the Hulk revives Tony Stark.
Yeah. Wait, can I try out? Can I like wake you guys all up that way? You wanna hear me try? You gonna pull away from your headphones? Ready?
Okay.
Ready? No, that's not gonna wake anyone up.
Depends on how loud they have their headphones. No, but yeah, the Avengers, great film, great everything. The action was fantastic. The story was great. Yeah, I think you mentioned before we went in. I think I heard it in some of the interviews that you did in line. You and Josh is a master at this. Is the little quips with the characters, though that was perfect. Plus, having A-list actors doing that.
The sprinkled bits of one-liners, and everybody got one. It wasn't like, well, Tony always gets them because he's Tony and he gets to be like that guy. But really, everybody got the good banter moment. And even secondary characters that, like just were on the deck of the bridge and everything. Like even the scene where the guy like switches over and he's playing a video game.
He's playing Galaga.
That's not like
that was awesome.
Yeah, and it's not, and he's not even a thing. But it's like he gets to even have a joke. In those moments.
And how they worked in some of the classic lines, like at the end, Captain America says Hulk, and he waits till he looks at him and he goes, smash.
Yes.
That was such a great way to tie in Hulk smash without it being like, oh, okay, they had to say it.
There's the corny line. They check that one off the list.
Yeah, everybody's line like that they had to say didn't feel forced like that. It was awesome.
It felt very natural, like all around. Everybody was pretty much true to character as well. Nobody felt off.
That's right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Except the one line that was missing is what was on the posters and the whole
just because it's part of the promotion doesn't mean it has to be in the movie. I don't know if you understand that whole
No, it can't be in the movie because the character's not there. See, now that we get it, you can nitpick a little bit. One of the nitpicks is like First Class, X-Men First Class. That wasn't the First Class. Just like this one, these weren't the original Avengers. Black Widow was nowhere to be seen in the original Avengers. And the character that did say Avengers Assemble was Ant-Man, and he's nowhere to be seen in this movie.
No, but Ant-Man is nowhere to be seen anywhere anymore. Nobody knows him.
He's in the new, the very cool Earth's Mightiest Heroes on Disney XD. You guys have seen it, you know what he's talking about.
All right.
For a second, I thought they were going to go with Robert Downey Jr. when he was fighting the Chitauri when they were coming down. I thought when they arrived in the Quinjet that he was going to say Avengers Assemble, which I was hoping they wouldn't do because
it would have been campy and corny.
I'll say this also: the first time the midnight that I saw it, just the fresh experience. When I got out of there, I thought it was Iron Man 3. I thought there was a little bit too much RDJ. But the second time I went to see it, I realized okay, it is pretty equal billing for everybody. I think it was just the excitement of just being there, watching it. Kind of like with Star Wars, we see that like 20, 40 times on Friday.
Well, and you like Tony Stark and Iron Man have that rock star quality. So he walks in the room and you pay attention to him because it's such...
He commands that.
Right, exactly. And so you pull that out. But the script and
the
character...
Little details afterwards. And those details are... Captain America was played perfectly. You could see that he's a guy from the 1940s.
Right.
Yeah. But I got that one. No, but I got that one.
Because that was the biggest movie, The Wizard of Oz. And for those of you who didn't get the reference, it was for The Wizard of Oz.
It was totally The Wizard of Oz. Who doesn't even understand that?
Believe it or not, there were some kids, I'll say kids in the audience who said, I don't get it. What is that?
Those parents are doing a bad job. No, actually, The Wizard of Oz is kind of scary for really little kids. So, you can wait, but seriously,
maybe we'll have to change the book club to the must-see for every generation club.
Are you sure you don't want to don't miss the don't
miss? Or we
should
list. Create a feature where somebody talks about movies that you need to see.
That would be I would listen to that feature like avidly. I'd be really excited about a feature like that.
Producers, get on that. Take notes on that. So obviously, we love the Avengers, and yes, we're going to go see it 4 or 5 more times.
We're going again tonight.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, well, tonight, and maybe I'll get bored
Friday
for a couple of hours this weekend. And I've got a movie theater just up the street from me. I can just walk up whenever.
On Saturday, after Free Comic Book Day, producer David and I actually went to see it again. And we had to go see it in 3D because everything else was sold out. And so I can say that I got to see both the 2D and the 3D version. And honestly, I couldn't tell a difference. It looked the same. The only thing I didn't like about the 3D, it's too dark. And I did do the A/B, which I've done on every movie, and it's just too dark. And
science is just the light passing through, and you have to go through it like that, and then the screen, and then the reflected back, and then through all that. It is just going to be darker.
You wonder why she does a geek show.
I haven't, no, I don't know anything about science. But it is, I'm going to be going to the IMAX next, and I'm really excited for that, and I'm curious how it'll hold up to the 3D. I haven't seen the 2D version yet, but I wanna. I'm gonna.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen.
Like I said, we loved the Avengers. You will too. There must be one of you who hasn't seen it yet.
I'm curious if there is like a minority of people who didn't like the movie who are afraid to speak up, because that happens. I mean, you have to admit that happens. And I'm kind of curious, after all the fervor dies down, when those comments are going to start sort of rising, like tentative little steps, like, well, it was good, but...
Well, I got to say this. Our guy, David Lee, who usually doesn't like comics events, he loved this. He loved it so much, he lost his voice. So we're not going to hear from David Lee this week. He'll be back next week. But I did talk to him after he came out of his midnight showing. He loved it. He couldn't stop talking about it. That's why he doesn't have a voice.
That is not a testament to how good this movie is. I don't know.
Don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah.
And believe me, we're not talking bad about him. He knows comics backwards and forwards, DC, Marvel, all the independents, everything. So if he loves it, then most fanboys will probably love this movie also. But yeah, like I said, we love the Avengers. So on the Saturday, Free Comic Book Day, 11th annual, we spent it where else? Flying Colors Comics and other cool stuff in Concord with Joe Field, and all. You guys can go to our YouTube page; it's all out there. Congratulations again to Rebecca Thrasher, winner of Disney Marvel's The Avengers Assembled cast autograph, and Joss Whedon on there, and Kevin Feige also. They all signed it for her, including Loki up on top. You couldn't miss
Of course,
him.
the bad guy. You're so excited about that.
Yeah. So congratulations to her. And we also had some other posters, unsigned posters, some CDs, and a bunch of, I think there was a Hulk mask and some other stuff that we gave out in line. So everybody had fun. You guys, I could see it in your faces. You guys all had fun too.
Well, not only could you see it on our faces, but everybody could see it on our faces on the YouTube videos.
Yes, video does not lie. But yeah, well, did you guys enjoy? Was that your first? I forgot to ask you guys that. Was that your first Free Comic Book Day?
That was my second. The first one I ever went to, I took my niece, who I think was 2 or 3 at the time, over to a comic book store, and we picked out some comic books for her to start her off on the right path in life, reading comic books. But I didn't really go for myself at that point. So this was my first one that I went for me, for grown-up things.
Yeah, this was my first one too. I'd heard of it before, and I'd actually gotten the flyer from Joe Field's store, but this was the first time I actually got to go, so it was awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And the mayor was there. Dude, the mayor of Concord was there.
To deliver a proclamation that day in Concord was officially Free Comic Book Day. Or, I guess...
It was Free Comic Book Day. It was proclaimed that day.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I guess he made it politically correct to say Free Comic Book Day that day in Concord.
We like him. We friended him.
Yep, no. Plus proclamation language. It's hilarious. What and wherefores all up in that. It was so fun.
So obviously we all had a lot of fun. You all had a lot of fun there. We've been to Joe's store before. Rachel, you've been there before also. We are going to do something new. Like you said, you can see all the fun, all the geek outs. We can see it on our faces. Now you can literally see it, watch it. Our YouTube page will pretty soon have something new on there. We're going to call it the Geek Speak Video Show. So what do you think that means?
Such an original and descriptive name.
It took me a whole 2 seconds to come up with it.
But it is. It's going to be great. We're going to go and talk to people.
It's going to be obviously the video version of the Geek Speak Show. So you guys listen to us every week. Now you can watch us every month because it is going to be a monthly thing. It's going to be a traveling show. We're going to be like gypsies and pack up and just go wherever.
I'm not dressing up like a gypsy. I don't know if Henry is.
Oh, I'll dress up like a gypsy. I totally have the costume pieces already.
Oh.
But that's because I'm a costumer.
And you will get to see this. It is a video show after all. But what it is going to be, in all seriousness, what it is going to be is last year I saw a lot of stores here in San Francisco close their doors. And so I figured, you know what? Let's support them in every way we can besides just going there and shopping. Let's bring attention and customers in their doors. So I figured, how could we do it besides having them on the show? Let's do a video show at the store. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start here in the Bay Area. If you go to LA or somewhere else, that's a lot of traveling. But all of you out there, let us know your favorite shop. Should we go there and film there? Of course, we're going to do Flying Colors sometime. We have the Two Cats. We have, what else is here? A Romy store. He was on with us. Mm-hmm. We have a bunch of stores that are here. Comic Experience is another one that's here in San Francisco. Isotope, another one here in San Francisco. A lot of them. Amazing Fantasy is actually a new one it's been around for a while, but I just found it not too long ago. Very cool store. So all these stores will feature. We'll go into the Peninsula, South Bay, East Bay, all over the place. Not in the Bay because I can't swim. But we'll go there and just talk about the store, talk to the owners, what sets your store apart, blah, blah, blah. After we do that, we'll start bringing in some creators and do signings. So there are some new titles coming out, some new series that are kicking off. So we'll have them there, and you all are invited to be there and watch us while we do this and ask questions.
Yes, come and be part of the audience. Come and join the show. Be part of the fun.
Yeah, we mentioned fanboys earlier. They love to gripe and complain about stuff. Now you get to do it to the creator's face.
It's like coming to a comic book convention to talk to a panel without having to wait in line for 6 hours to do it.
And then the creator can punch you in the face.
That's true. There's very little security except me.
The Geek Speak Video Show, youtube.com/Geek Speak Videos. It'll be on there starting, I would say in June. We're going to plan a few things, and we'll start it then. So we are going to do a very short show just because we're tired from all the free comic book day and seeing Avengers 20 times in one day.
It's been a lot of movies.
21, because you two are going after the show. So let's take a little break. When we come back, well, what else do we talk about? Avengers. So stay right there, and they will assemble here in San Francisco.
The Geek Speak Show will be back in a moment. On the weekend of May 19th and 20th, Northern California's biggest premier two-day comics event comes to the San Jose Convention Center. Big Wow Comic Fest. Big Wow Comic Fest is a comics convention that highlights comic books and comic book artists. Check out some of the guests. Jim Lee, Steve Niles, Frank Cho, Sergio Aragonés, Ryan Sook, Thomas Jane, Terrence Zadunich, Jane Weedlin, and more. Visit BigWowComicFest.com for a complete list of guests, plus a full schedule of programming and panels. Big Wow Comic Fest 2012 also has costume contest, an art auction, the Avengers Museum Art Show, giveaways, live art, and much more. This is a Comic Con the way it should be, for comic books and comic book fans. Get tickets and information at www.bigwowcomicfest.com. Big Wow Comic Fest. Now back to one of the reasons you got the new iPad, the Geek Speak Show.
It is the Geek Speak Show. Welcome back. So, Avengers, we had enough?
No.
Of course not. So let's keep it going. The new exhibit, actually, it's called Avengers Assemble. Speaking of, we didn't mention this while we were talking about the reviewing the movie a minute ago. Nobody said that in the movie. It's one thing that was missing. Not a bad thing, but it just was just missing. Just didn't feel right.
Oh, you feel like that was like missing?
Although, because the character that actually said it was missing also, and that goes into a whole other thing. So
it's a whole thing.
We'll save it for later. So, not enough Avengers in case you haven't. They're assembling here in San Francisco at the Cartoon Art Museum. Andrew Farago, curator, been on before, back again. Welcome, Andrew, to the Geek Speak Show.
Glad to be back.
Glad to have you back. So tell us all about the Avengers Assemble exhibit.
Okay, this is a show featuring the Avengers comic book. I know with all the millions of people going out to see the movie, they might not be aware that it all started back in the comic books. I know your listeners are.
Yeah.
But we want to remind people that way before Joss Whedon got his hands on this property, this was something Jack Kirby and Stan Lee and Roy Thomas and Neil Adams and John Buscema and a lot of other talented people worked on first. So our exhibition is there to let people know, this is where it all got started.
Yeah, like I said, for this audience, they know the history and everything, so we're not giving too much away. But what can we expect to see when we go see the Avengers Assemble exhibit?
Okay, we've actually got artwork from the very the first 2 issues of the Avengers. So we've got some really nice pages drawn by Jack Kirby. So you've got the Hulk being kind of a jerk, dealing with wailing on his teammates. He didn't last very long as an Avenger. He lasted about 2.5 stories before things just came to a head, and he just was not much of a team player.
Yeah.
And so we've got some stories from that. We've got some artwork from that era. We've got some really nice early covers from John Buscema, and he's one of the definitive early artists. We've got artwork from Don Heck. He was the first artist after Jack Kirby left the book. And go through a lot of classic eras, a lot of really fun lineups for the team. So you'll probably see some of your favorite groups when you're here.
Is it covering just the classics, or will the latest artists like John Romita Jr.? I know he had a run on Avengers. Will we see some stuff from them?
Right. We're going all the way up to guys like Romita Jr. and Frank Cho.
Okay.
And an interesting thing about this show is we're going to be showing about half of the artwork starting on Saturday. So we'll have a really cool lineup of stuff on Saturday. We've got again all the stuff that I already mentioned. But after the big WoW Comic Fest wraps up May 19th and 20th, we're actually having a second exhibition over there. So half of our artwork is going to be in that exhibition, and then once that's done, we're going to basically double up here at the Cartoon Art Museum.
Yeah, perfect segue there, because Frank Cho actually is going to be at Big Wow. We're doing a big contest with him. We gave you guys the secret hashtag for this week, giving away tickets for it. May 19th and 20th, you will see, like you said, some of the things that... let me get this straight. What we're going to see at Big Wow will not be premiering this weekend? Right. So we're showing... we'll still have about 30 or 40 really excellent pieces on display at the museum. But... let's see. In the weeks following, we're going to be rolling out more and more stuff. We've actually got some movie replica props that are in the works. So if you come a little bit later in the month, you'll get to see Captain America's shield. You'll get to see Thor's hammer, Iron Man's helmet.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be a really fun show.
So speaking of your Avengers Assemble exhibit and how much more we're going to see, what did you think of the Avengers movie?
I have not seen it yet. So, no, yeah, don't even threaten me with spoilers, because I'll hang up right away.
You have to go. Actually, Arielle and I are going again tonight, so.
I like to wait until the crowds die down just a little bit.
Oh, but this is a great one. This is a great one for crowds, because everybody gets into it. I actually really liked being in the theater with the rolls of laughter. That's sort of why I like going to events in places where other people are going to be, like to your museum, so you can go and you can see in person with other people and feel that energy and that excitement and that enthusiasm. It's nice to congregate.
Yeah, so we highly recommend, is the point.
Okay, I will see it very soon now.
Well, I saw it both. Do you guys recommend he see it in 3D or regular? Or?
I think...
Actually, there's also an IMAX theater by the Cartoon Art Museum, so you can also see it in IMAX 3D.
See, IMAX takes the cake, but if you can't, I thought 3D was really good.
Yeah, I thought the 3D was really good. It was the best version of 3D that I've seen, but ultimately for me, I don't care about graphics as much as I care about the story and how it goes. So I was happy with both 2D and 3D. Like, both were good presentations.
And remember the part... okay, we'll stop. See, Andrew, I wish you'd seen it.
And then there was that line where they said... No, we won't say.
Yeah, but you will love it. I'm sure of that. And we're not saying it just because we were fans. It's because it was just a really, really fun, great movie. So we're talking to Andrew Farago, curator of the Cartoon Art Museum. The Avengers will be assembling. Avengers Assemble, the exhibit coming this weekend, May 12th, running through October, I believe it is, Andrew?
Excuse me?
It's running through October?
Yes. You'll have plenty of time to see it, and the exhibition you see on May 12th will be different than the one you see just 2 weeks later. So, this is a great excuse to get yourself a membership and keep coming back to see this and the other exhibitions that we have.
So what other exhibitions do you have that are going to be ongoing?
All right. We just launched a really big, comprehensive Mad Magazine exhibition just a couple weeks ago, and that goes all the way back to the very earliest issues of Mad, and again, all the way through the brand new stuff. So we follow the history from Harvey Kurtzman through Sergio Aragones and Don Martin. And if you have a favorite thing from Mad Magazine, you'll probably see it in this show.
Spy versus Spy, it's probably in there.
Spy versus Spy.
I like the folding, the folding things where you have the thing in the
fold-outs at
middle,
the
and
end.
then you and then it's a new picture. That one always blew my mind. I was like, "Whoa, wait, that was one thing, and now it's another
We got
thing."
2 great fold-in pieces by Al Jaffe, and I decided to take pity on our visitors and actually present the solutions. we don't want you folding the original art.
How nice of you.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah, I
And-
can ask that. Actually, are we actually allowed to fold them?
And
Yeah, we discourage that.
you also have another event coming up, which is celebrating 35 years of Star Wars comics. That's true?
Yeah, so next week is Star Wars Week here. So we've got, on Tuesday night, Howard Chaykin and Steve Leialoha, who drew the original Marvel Comics Star Wars movie adaptation in 1977, will be here, and they'll talk about their experiences, and that's going to be a lot of fun. It's been 35 years since the movie came out, and they, I think they were working from incomplete scripts and just random bits of film footage and blurry still photographs, and I think at the time they had no idea that Star Wars would become what it did.
So it'll be interesting to hear their
they'll be here.
side.
Yeah, they'll be here talking about their experience. I know it was a lot different working for George Lucas in 1977 than it is
now.
I hear that.
Yeah, one thing I don't know if you remember, Andrew or Rachel, or I kind of remember, is that big scene in the Marvel comics? I think I remember seeing it there. Do you guys even know what I'm talking about?
The big scene in Star Wars.
Not the big scene, the Bigs.
Oh,
Biggs Dark
yeah.
Matter, where Luke talks to him.
Yeah, that definitely happens. So there are bits and pieces in the adaptation that weren't in the movie, and again, as they were working on the comic book, they also made an ongoing series following the movie adaptation, and they didn't know how big Star Wars was going to be. They didn't know, they didn't know about. I don't want to give any spoilers about Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. But,
Yeah.
I wonder how that would parallel with the novelizations and the other things that are part of the Star Wars world. It'd be interesting to compare and contrast the different directions they may have taken.
So come next week on Tuesday and bring your questions, and we'll get the answers right from Howard and Steve.
Yeah, and what time is that going to happen?
And that's 7 o'clock until 9 o'clock.
Okay.
And then just 2 days later, we've got a tie-in with an exhibit that we have called Darth Vader and Son. Speaking of spoilers, but Jeffrey
alert.
Brown did this great comedy book for Chronicle called Darth Vader and Son, and it's basically Darth Vader as a single father. So Luke is about 4 years old in this comic, and they're just doing various father and son activities. And it's been a really the book's done really well. It's been a big hit, and we're really excited to have Jeff come here, and I'm going to interview him next Thursday night. So it's basically all Star Wars all the time next week.
And that's 7 to 9 as well, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
Cool. And we may have Jeff, and we may interview him next week on the show. So talk about that. That's actually we have Mother's Day weekend coming up now. That will be perfect. The book just came out, I believe, last week. It'll be a perfect gift for your Star Wars geek dad.
There you
Darth
go.
Vader and Son. Cool book.
Definitely.
So again, Andrew Farago, Cartoon Art Museum. Andrew, what are the museum operating hours?
Okay, we are open 11 o'clock to 5 o'clock. We're closed on Mondays, but any other day of the week, come on down. And if you go to our website, cartoonart.org, that's got information about all of our exhibits, all of our programming, and we are all over the Facebook and the Twitter.
That's excellent. And now for people who are visiting the museum, what, in your opinion, is the one cannot miss? You have to see it when you come in and visit the museum piece that you have right now.
All right, I would say the very first part of our Mad Magazine exhibition, because we've got original artwork from the second, third, and fourth and fifth issues of Mad. We've got and it's just really a murderer's row of classic comic artwork. So if you like comics at all, you should see the Mad Show. And if you don't like comics, this is the show that will convince you that you do like them.
Perfect. It's the way
one of
to.
my favorite shows I've done.
So it's the way to bring that like non-comic book loving person in your life to bring them out and show them like, no, this is why I love it. Don't you get it? It's amazing.
Yeah, and absolutely everybody grew up on Mad, so it's a perfect show for everybody.
What, me worry? Another thing I would add, we've been there a few times ourselves, is if it's still there, haven't been there in a while, is the camera that's right in front. Is it still there, Andrew?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that one. Don't touch it though. I mean, producer Damien, you have to restrain
Hold him back.
touch it, but it's pretty cool looking, and it actually has a lot of history tied into animation in San Francisco. So that's interesting and cool too.
Nice.
Yeah, an animation camera donated by Alex Anderson, who used it to film Crusader Rabbit, and that's the first show created for American television animation, and it was done right here in San Francisco.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. Oh, I love the history in this town.
Yeah, and you can see it all there at the Cartoon Art Museum. Avengers Assemble, the exhibit will start this Saturday, May 12th, running through October. And remember, it goes in two parts. You can go up on our link section. It's all on there. The Cartoon Art Museum, their website is there. And like Andrew said, they're on the Facebook, on the Twitter, all that stuff. It's all on there, links to that. So, Andrew, thanks a lot. We'll see you probably sometime. Probably Rachel will be there for the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, I don't think you can pull her away.
Yeah, our resident Star Wars geek here. But, Andrew, thanks a lot. You're welcome anytime. And we'll talk to you later.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks a lot.
Bye.
So, again, Avengers Assemble, the exhibit starting this Saturday at the Cartoon Art Museum, 655 Mission Street. Those of you who have been to WonderCon, right around the corner, and just in case you haven't seen it, there are some people. We just spoke to Andrew. He's one of them. If you haven't seen the Avengers IMAX 3D, it's right around the corner. You can go to the Cartoon Art Museum, geek out there, then geek out some more at the Avengers.
It's like a history lesson, right? You learn, you get to know where it came from. Yeah, the best sort of history lesson. Comic book history lesson.
And then you get to see the beautifulness that it turned into in the movie.
That's right. It's the beginning and now the current, present, and possibly the future. Who knows?
That is true.
Yeah.
Is that a word, beautifulness?
I made it up.
It's a word now.
Yeah, it is now. So let me take a little break. You two gave me a little flack for not having a book for the book club last week.
Oh, that's true.
Maybe.
So let me take a break. Like I said, watch this. Watch what I have for this week.
The Geek Speak Show will be back in a moment. On the weekend of May 19th and 20th, Northern California's biggest premier two-day comics event comes to the San Jose Convention Center. Big Wow Comic Fest. Big Wow Comic Fest is a comics convention that highlights comic books and comic book artists. Check out some of the guests. Jim Lee, Steve Niles, Frank Cho, Sergio Aragonés, Ryan Sook, Thomas Jane, Terrence Zadunich, Jane Weedlin, and more. Visit BigWowComicFest.com for a complete list of guests, plus a full schedule of programming and panels. Big Wow Comic Fest 2012 also has costume contest, an art auction, the Avengers Museum Art Show, giveaways, live art, and much more. This is a Comic-Con the way it should be, for comic books and comic book fans. Get tickets and information at www.bigwowcomicfest.com. Big Wow Comic Fest. It's time for the Geek Speak Show Book Club. Our books or graphic novels. Tell us what your favorites are. Books at thegeekspeakshow.com.
Hey, it's Henry. So the girls are here, Arielle and Rachel. They are somewhere around here. But last week, if you guys remember, they gave me a little bit of flack because I didn't have a pick for the book club. And I believe what they said exactly was I should set the example and get a book every week, which I have since last year. So whatever. Anyway, so I do have a book this week. It's called The Strand Prophecy. Just actually read it a couple of times. Got it not too long ago, shortly after WonderCon. Written by the Winter Twins. Instead of telling you all about it, not only do I have a book, I also have the creators, the writers, the Winter Twins, Brittany and Brianna, on the show with me. Ladies, welcome to the Geek Speak Show.
Thank you for having us. We are so excited to be here.
So excited to have you here also. So I was going to tell everybody about, that's the way the book club works. I usually tell, we don't do reviews, we just tell everybody why we like the books. But since you're here, tell us all about Strand Prophecy.
All right. Okay, we'll tell you what it's about. I'll give you the 30-second, we call it an elevator pitch, which means, you say at conventions, you have to say it so fast like you're in an elevator. And then we'll go more in depth.
Okay.
All right. Well, the Strand Prophecy, or the Strand series, is going to be a 6-book series, actually 2 trilogies. And our first book is called The Strand Prophecy, and it is about a scientist superhero with no powers who has to warn the world about rapidly evolving predatory creatures. And the more in-depth version is our main character, Strand, or Steve Cutter, because he's a superhero. He creates a technology called Strands. Strands, it's a pun. Never mind. And he creates a technology. Do you know what nanofibers are?
I do.
Awesome. Yay! Well, we should describe it anyway. Absolutely. Think little tiny metal strings. And as human beings, we only use about 10 to 15% of our brain. And he creates a way to use 100% by using these nanofibers as artificial pathways and connecting them to pathways in his brain. Yeah, making the pathways in his brain. The brain grows around the nanofiber, or the strands, and he's able to use 100%, think thousands of thoughts at the same time. He becomes super, super smart. Woo! And he discovers something really disturbing. That solar radiation is going to activate our DNA to either evolve to our psychological state or where we are physically. We'll explain that. Because that sounds pretty... Whoa! It causes this mass mutation, or a rapid evolution for every living thing. So, but like Brittany said, by the way, I'm Brianna. And I'm Brittany, so that's our names. You can't tell which one's which because you can't see us. Well, we should go back to describing what our book's about. As I said, it's a mass mutation, so every little living thing is going to evolve to either so if you're a monster on the inside, if you're a bad person, you become a monster on the outside, or to the nearest food source. The largest food source, or the environment. For lower forms of life, however, it's just the environment and food source. So this is really scary because a very large food source is humans. So you imagine all creatures evolving into scary monsters and coming after us. And if you think about it, as humans, we really don't have any way to protect ourselves. Besides weapons. Think about it. We don't have any sort of claws or... Yeah, we're pretty much defenseless. It's very scary. So he has to warn the world about this. And of course no one believes him, and that's the first book. Dun 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 dun.
Yeah, as I started reading the book, actually, what I liked about it is it has a little bit of elements from everything, from sci-fi, from a lot of comic books, from some old stories. Where did the story come from, or where did you borrow from? How did you sit down and come up with the story?
Well, we'll give you a little background on us. We wrote this when we were 12 years old, and our dad, of course, we call ourselves third-generation Trekkies. Mm-hmm. So our grandparents were into Star Trek, our parents, and of course us. We were raised on Star Trek, and we loved comic books. But to start out, we started loving science fiction from, I can remember, a very, very early age. Now, we'll give you a little background on us so it will make sense where we get the ideas. We were born 11 weeks early, and as identical twins, that makes it because you're born early, you have low immune system. So we can only play with each other. And we started to play pretend. Now, these pretend games became more and more science fiction over the years, and we started to love it more and more, and it became more like verbally writing. So a character would walk into the room, they'd pick up the picture frame and have a skull on it, stuff like that. And we'd have character arcs and story arcs, and we'd draw pictures, but we never write because we have dyslexia. Exactly. So that's a whole different story, but our dad started to introduce us to science fiction because we just fell in love with it, and the more we started to create, the more we started to research science fiction. But with our books, we really loved science as well as science fiction. We wanted to do something where we combined science and superheroes, but we didn't want our superhero to have powers. So our dad consulted for NASA, so we talked to people at NASA, and we got to use some NASA technology in our books. And a lot of online, so I know Fox News has a science section. I know every website has science. So CNN, there's Scientific American, there's ScienceDaily.com, there's lots of them. That's part of the inspiration, too. We wanted to create a superhero that we wanted to make superheroes in science fiction in a way that's never been done before. So that's part of our inspiration for that. We grew up reading comic books and we love sci-fi and technology and sort of combine them. I hope that answered your question.
It did, actually. It did. And before we continue, let me deviate a little bit from the book. And as a Star Trek fan myself, I got to ask you, there's been so many variations of Star Trek. Which one do you prefer, the original, Next Generation, or what?
That is a super hard question. Well, I had to say we love Next Generation. Yeah, we love Next Generation. But, you know, we know a lot of the actors on Star Trek because we go to a lot of Comic-Cons and, of course, WonderCon. So we got to meet all the actors, and it's kind of hard because when you know the people, you don't really want to pick one favorite. Yeah. You know them. You know them. But I have to say that we love Next Generation. And we also have the debate on Kirk or Picard. And Brittany thinks Kirk, I think Picard.
Well, actually, now you can also add Kirk, or Picard, the new Kirk.
Oh. That's too hard. I think everyone wants to be Kirk, but if you were going to be on a ship, you would want to be on Picard's because you know that one's not going to get in so much trouble. It's more of a diplomat. Yeah.
Plus, you can always split it up and, you know, get away from trouble that way. The original Enterprise doesn't break apart, so they got that going for them.
True. Very true.
Yeah, so we're talking to the Winter Twins, Brittany and Biana. It's up on our book club section. Everything is on there. WinterTwins.com. If you want to go there directly, you can find out more about the Strand series. The first one that I picked is the Strand Prophecy because that's the one I read. And like I said, I'm hooked. Love it. Great job on it. Whose idea was it? This was one part that I found really cool. Whose idea was it to have him ride the missile cycle?
Oh, that's a hard question. Let's think back. And you know, surprisingly, no one has ever asked that, and we've been waiting for years for someone to ask that. Oh, we're ready. Well, we love missiles and weapons. So we took a Tomahawk cruise missile, and we were researching science online, like good geeks do, and we realized, what if you could ride it? That would be awesome! And so we put some fancy wording to it so it seemed real, and boom, there it is, missile cycle. You know, a lot of writing is just saying, oh, that seems cool, and then writing it down. It's really not like, you know, sometimes it's not very philosophical or deep. It's just, I want a missile that you can ride! And yes. Even cooler. It's a geek out moment. You just geek out over it. It's the coolest thing you could possibly think of. But I think with the, like, I'll give you an example. With the giant, the giant toads. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were like, what if we have giant toads the size of dogs with a horn? And that's how we came up with it. And it's just if you keep asking yourself questions, a lot about writing is asking yourself what if, and with science fiction is what could happen in the future that would be something entertaining, that would be something fun, but something that might be realistic. And we really thought that writing a missile would be not only incredibly fun, but a great way to travel. Also, you know, the funny thing with Brittany and I when we create is we don't really remember which one creates the original idea. Maybe it's because we're twins, but we throw ideas out there so fast that we don't really remember, or we don't keep track of who created which idea. We think that it's like, this is my idea and this is your idea, and then we fight about it. It's not a good way to create. When you create an idea, it belongs to the story. That's our philosophy. And we've written four novels now. We're writing our fifth. So we have a lot of things like that are really fun, especially with science fiction, because science fiction is my favorite sandbox to play in because you can do anything. Right. And incorporate anything in it. And you can really geek out. We're going to use geek as much as we possibly can now. Geek.
And the other I was actually going to ask you that, but since you kind of answered the question for me, let me turn it around this way. Now that you've written, like you said, all these novels, has it become like a second language to you guys, who just sit down and look at each other and like, hey, this, or hey, that doesn't work, or this will work?
Well, over the years, you start to develop a method and a way of writing together and as a team. But we've noticed that originally we started out with more situational writing, where you know the ending, you know the beginning, and you sit down and it just starts to come out. And that's how we wrote the Strand Prophecy. So we didn't know what was going to happen really at the end. We knew that, I'm not going to spoil anything, we knew the events, we just didn't know how we were going to get there. So it was really a ride. But as we keep writing, as we've written 4 novels, we start to plan out more and more. So we write detailed outlines. So we plan out, as I said, end, beginning, middle. We actually have a whole writing method we teach as well. We actually start with the end, we go to the beginning, and then we go to the middle, and we start planning out detailed what happens in every chapter. So we can go to that, and whoever's writing knows what's going to happen.
What other plans do you have for Strand? And not by plans, I don't mean books. I mean, do you plan to turn it into a comic book, movies, maybe cartoons, anything like that?
Movies would be awesome. That's our dream. But we actually have a graphic novel coming out before Comic-Con San Diego. And it's going to, as I said before, it's going to be a 6-book series. Okay. And it's going to be 3 books, which would be like sort of, we just realized this is actually first time we've announced this. This is going to be on your show.
Breaking news.
Yay! We're actually going to break it up into 2 trilogies. So there's going to be the Strand series, which is going to be the first, the second, and the third. And then we're going to have 3 other books that are still in the same series, but maybe in the far future, they're going to be totally different.
Because we realized that the Strand series in book 3, that, we're doing the rewrites on it now, is that it's just the 4th book and the 3rd book are going to be just so different.
That we're going to break them up into 2 different series. Of course, in the same universe, but 2 different series.
But it's still a 6-book series. Does that make sense?
It does, actually, believe it or not.
Yay!
It does.
Good, because that was our first time explaining it.
Yeah, again, breaking news, and the Winter Twins are on here. Brittany and Brianna. The links are up on our book club section. You can find the books, everything on there. If you haven't read the books yet, you can get them right on there. Now, you mentioned Star Trek. Anything else, movies, books wise, that inspired you, whether it was sci-fi or anything else?
Oh yeah. Well, we love Star Wars. We have forever. We play Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Who doesn't?
Exactly.
Exactly. We love Star Wars. We started reading comic books, and as far back as we can remember, I can remember Golden Age comic books. So the original Superman. Our dad has a Superman collection in our house. We just thought that was normal.
The characters that really inspired us was we love X-Men and Batman because
yes, those 2.
And so those are the real characters we drew inspiration from for Strand, because we loved for Batman that he's a dark, sort of semi-reluctant superhero that uses only technology, and for X-Men they have the mutations. That's where a lot of our inspiration came from.
And we also like Jurassic Park because of the giant dinosaurs.
Giant dinosaurs are awesome. We don't even have to explain that. Just giant dinosaurs. Woo!
Yeah, my son and his friend completely agree with you on that.
Yes. I think we're the only little girls with a dinosaur-themed bedroom.
Yeah, we love dinosaurs. Love them. It's too bad they're extinct. Well, actually, it's good they're extinct. Otherwise, it'd be bad for us. But that's another conversation.
Yeah, so like I said, Star Wars. I'm actually from what you call the Star Wars generation. I was 4 years old when I actually saw it in the movie theater for the first time. It wasn't even called Episode 4 or anything back then. It was just Star Wars. Mm-hmm. So with you guys, one thing I was wondering. Your dad obviously was very supportive in this, and he's the one that showed you the comics and everything. When I was younger, my dad wasn't like that. He never liked science fiction or comics or anything. In fact, he tried to get me to get away from it. Obviously, it didn't work. Oh. But today, would you say it's a lot easier for you, especially being girls, to like this stuff and to show your geek pride?
I think it's gotten better, but it's definitely not easy when you're in a group of girls and say, "Oh, I love Star Trek," and they sort of look at you like you're an alien. Though I find that kind of cool because I love aliens, but
I think that we're at the birth of a geek revolution.
Or a geek culture
revolution.
I mean, think about it. The Avengers just came out. It's huge. And then Avatar. Sci-fi is what's making the most money.
And look at the Big Bang Theory and everything else. I mean, geek is becoming in or popular. So I think it is easier to be a geek now than it was. But geek girls, we really don't exist yet. I mean, there's some of us. I know there's Felicia Day, Bonnie Burton, some amazing geek girls. But we need more. The geek girls need to show more pride.
I think we're definitely at, well, maybe not the birth, but it's becoming
the beginning.
The beginning of geek culture. And I'm really excited and honored to be part of it, especially when we're doing these conventions, because there are more girls that are open and willing to wear, the graphic t-shirts, or openly identify as geek girls and like Star Wars and Star Trek.
And I think it's going to get better over time.
Yeah, but as you were saying that, actually, I remembered that. I don't know if you guys read about the story about the little Star Wars girl that was bullied because
Oh yeah.
So there are things like that still.
Katie, yeah.
Yeah,
yes,
Katie.
We heard all about that.
Yeah. I read that. We're big fans of her.
We're huge fans.
Yeah, us too on this show. So speaking of kids and inspiring them, we do a lot of stuff here on the show, but you two founded Motivate to Learn. Tell us about that.
All right. Well,
I'd love to.
earlier we said a little bit about the fact that we are born early and we're dyslexic, so we'll go
More in depth.
because to really explain who we are, we have to explain how we got here.
Right.
So we should say that right now we're actually in 10th grade. So in case you can't see us, so you can't see how young we look and how short we are. So we're in 10th grade. And yes, we are short.
We are very short, and we will forever be short. 5 feet
Well,
tall.
wait. 5 feet tall? So I was going to say, my wife is actually 4'11", so she's got you beat there.
Oh! We were 4'11" forever, and we were content with being 4'11", and then we grew a half an inch. It's like, oh!
We've been celebrating for 4 years now. All right, we'll explain our nonprofit and what we do, and another passion of ours. Well, we explained a little bit about this earlier. We were born 11 weeks early, and we were born at 3 pounds 11 ounces, went down to 3 pounds. A lot of experimental medication because our lungs were underdeveloped, a lot of things like that. And because of that, the first 5 or 6 years of your life, we had very low immune systems. So one kid could have a flu, they got near me and coughed, I could be in the hospital for a month and
Bad stuff.
Yeah, potentially die. So Brianna and I could only play with each other. We couldn't be around other kids for the beginning years of our lives. And our dad introduced us to science fiction, Star Wars. We have an adorable picture of us dressed up as Queen Amidala, but that's another story. So we became in love with science fiction.
Because and superheroes, because we were so sick, and we love the idea that that a normal person can get extraordinary powers and help other people.
So we started to play pretend because we were constantly in and out of hospitals and sick. And that was our way of entertainment, our TV per se. And we started to play pretend, and they became science fiction. And over the years, it grew. It became more than just playing pretend. It became worlds. I think we had 10 planets, intergalactic war.
We have it all written down, and one day we'll write a book about it.
Yes, but it was all aliens. It was really fun. Really great.
It was awesome.
And it was more like verbally writing. So instead of saying, oh, she had a wand and poof, it became a rabbit. No, it wasn't like that. It was more like they walked into the room, turned left, he had a laser gun, pointed at the person, turned it sideways. So it was more verbally writing. And in 4th grade, because we were born early and some of our learning disabilities started to show up, like dyslexia, dysgraphia, ADD. Woo! And the great thing about geek culture is it's very accepting, and that's really where we found our
niche.
Our niche. But to go back to our story, we started to have learning disabilities that started to show up really bad.
And at least here in California, the workload doubles.
In
you
4th
go from
grade.
lower grade to upper grade. It's much more serious.
So we started to have all these learning disabilities, and the kids in our class had another word for dyslexia: stupid, dumb, lazy. And we started to get teased, and we felt horrible, and came to our dad and said, Dad,
we're stupid.
We're not going to be able to do anything. We're not going to be able to go to college. We're not going to be able to finish high school. Oh my gosh, the world is over. We're in 4th grade. Oh no! Ah! And our dad didn't like this.
This really upset him. He said, you guys are not stupid, and I'm going to prove it to you. You're going to write a novel.
We're like, what?
You're crazy. But it seemed like a fun sort of crazy, so we thought we might as well try it out. And so we started creating together a whole new story. And at first we used speech-to-text programs, and after a while began to type, and now we only type.
And we researched online through all the science websites and found different things about evolution and mutations. We talked because our dad actually consulted for NASA, so we talked to his colleagues at NASA, and we talked to people about what we can incorporate in our book. And there's a lot of real science in it, which we really love. So after we wrote our book, we got it written, and we had such supportive parents. We got an editor, we got an amazing artist, Rob Pryor. He's absolutely amazing.
He was one of the original artists for
Dungeons and Dragons. He's directing movies now.
He did the Titanic movie poster, I think. He's ridiculous.
He's
Uncle Rob now.
He's Uncle Rob.
And also, I think we forgot to say that we fell in love with it after we started writing, and we realized this is what we wanted to do forever. So after we got it finished and edited, we sent it in for awards thinking maybe we'd win something, and we ended up winning 8 and going national into every Barnes & Noble store in the country.
Now, then we got our first check-in,
and our parents gave it to us. And they said, it's yours. You wrote the book. What do you want to buy? Some clothes, an iPod. And Brittany and I, we started talking, but this time we felt better about ourselves. We realized we weren't stupid. And we realized how many other kids and teens out there feel the way we felt.
Have bad self-confidence because of learning disabilities, or otherwise feeling like you don't fit in because of poverty, because of anything. How many other people feel bad, and how many people we can help with our story? So we took all of our money and started a tour called "If You Can Dream It, You Can Write It,"
where we'd tell our story about overcoming our dyslexia to write the book, and we'd talk about we do motivational speaking originally, but now we teach creative writing and our writing method, and now all types of writing now.
Exactly. And then we opened a nonprofit called Motivate to Learn. It takes a long time to get a 501c3, but we're very happy that we have one. So it's a nonprofit, and we've been in front of over 100,000 kids, and we live, all school to school.
And I think what they'll enjoy is that we go in front of the kids, and we have comics to kids, so we give kids comics, and we're big advocates for science fiction
as well. So that's a little bit about Motivate to Learn and how we got here.
Yeah, and if somebody's listening and they want to bring you guys to their school, can they go through motivatetolearn.org to deal with it, or how would they get in contact with you guys?
Yeah, they could do motivatetolearn.org, or I suggest winnertwins.com.
WINNER TWINS.
Yeah, Winner Twins, really easy. We're also on Facebook and Twitter as well.
Under Winner Twins.
So just send us a message.
Yeah, and you guys were right. It's not just people who have dyslexia or some other disability. It's anybody. I mean, as you know, kids get teased whether they have disabilities or not. And so having something like this for them to turn to is just a phenomenal idea on both your parts.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you. And I think it's trying to focus on what you love and what you're good at. And I think it's hard to focus when you have something you feel bad about. But that's what you have to do. You have to focus on what you're good at, then go back to your weakness and then try to overcome that.
Exactly.
For us, we found that we love science fiction and we fit in with geek culture. And I think that's the beauty of geek culture, is that it's so accepting, and people from all walks of life, you come to Comic-Con or you read like a comic book or something and you feel like you fit in. I think it's a beautiful thing that we're not, I don't think geek culture is very snobby.
It's not.
No, it's not. Very accepting, as you said, especially when you go, like you said, with the WonderCon, the Comic-Con, you're among family there.
Exactly. Yes. And for a couple days out of the year, everyone is family, everyone understands you, and everyone accepts you, which I think is such a beautiful thing.
And you get to wear a crazy costume. Which is fun!
Yeah, and nobody looks at you funny or calls you a funny name.
Exactly.
Yeah, so this past weekend, we just had Free Comic Book Day, and one of its goals is to introduce kids and new readers to comics. Now, besides that, and what you guys are doing, do you have any other ideas on how we can introduce or get kids more interested in reading?
You know, what we've found as we've toured schools is that a lot of kids that, even if they haven't been exposed much to comic books, is that they really like comics, especially if they're reluctant readers.
Because I was a reluctant reader. I'm Brittany, by the way, and I still have a very hard time reading, but I couldn't read. And our dad's idea and my parents' idea was, well, this comic book has they have words in it, but they also have pictures, so if she doesn't understand and can't read the words all the way, she can see what's going on.
And the reading something. I think that there should be more comic books in schools because it gets kids into reading.
Exactly. As well as we've noticed with our book, The Strand Prophecy, and our series, that it really calls to the reluctant reader boy that doesn't necessarily like to read, because it's very much like a superhero movie, like, I'll give you an example, like Iron Man or something, but in book form.
That's what we were inspired by. And you know, actually, what's been really great for comic books is the comic book movies coming out. Because we're speaking to kids, and we say, oh, how many of you have seen the Avengers or Iron Man? And they all put their hands up. It's like, well, where do you think that all came from?
Right.
So I think keep releasing superhero movies and more comics in the libraries at schools.
Also, these movies that have been made from books, I know there's so many, I've noticed so many more kids reading, like after the Hunger Games came out or Twilight. There's so many more that just want to read the book as well, which I've seen work really amazing.
Harry Potter even did that also.
Oh yeah. No, Harry Potter is the best example.
The best example.
Yeah. Now, something that just came up right now, actually, and you probably know this more than I do. My kids are about to go into 4th in kindergarten. I see a lot of comic books, graphic novels in public libraries, but do school libraries, like you said, do they have any at all? Comics or graphic novels?
Yes.
They actually have a lot of graphic novels. Anime as well.
I'm not sure if the correct way to pronounce it is it manga or manga. I'm just gonna say manga because I'm American. That's what I say. But
you say tomato, I say tomato.
Exactly. So we've seen a lot of manga in schools. Actually, we've noticed schools are very accepting of geek culture, and that's coming up.
And that's we've noticed over the years that there's a lot of manga in schools, and there's more comic books. That's becoming more and more.
Because I think the librarians are noticing that the kids want to read.
Yeah.
And they want to read that, and they're like, wow, we should get this in because that's something they're interested in. And I think they're doing a great job with that.
Librarians are awesome.
Yes. Huge fans.
Yes, they are. So the Winter Twins, Brittany and Brianna. Before I do let you go, one last thing. Every time we do the book club selection and we have the authors on, which is you two in this case, the last thing I do is ask them for suggestions for the book club. Now, let me give you some rules that we have for the book club. Very simple.
All right.
The rule number one is we actually talk about the book club. You know how in Fight Club you don't talk about Fight Club? Here you actually do talk about it. The second rule, it's got to be sci-fi, fantasy, horror, or a little mashup of those. Biographies are okay as long as it's somebody from geek culture. Graphic novels are okay. We don't really do comic books, but graphic novels are okay, although we are starting to include more comic books lately. So that's it. So from that, any suggestions for us?
Okay, well, we're going to have to first say our favorites. And we'd have to say Caves of Steel by Isaac
Asimov.
That's
anything by Isaac Asimov.
Or Ray Bradbury. We love The Martian Chronicles and Fahrenheit 451. If you guys haven't had Fahrenheit 451 as your book club, you must have that. That is...
I know you were reading a steampunk series that you enjoyed that was a little bit more fantasy but still on the sci-fi side.
Oh, I'm reading something by, I think her name's Sherry Priest, called The Dreadnought. I think that's...
Yes, you enjoyed that.
That's cool because it's steampunk, and I love historical fiction, and I love science fiction. So when I discovered steampunk a couple of years ago, I went nuts over it.
Yes.
So I really like that.
Another book we really enjoyed was a book I'm forgetting the name, but we'll let you know. It had to do with, it was fantasy. There's vampires in it, but it was still a little bit science fiction. Clockwork.
Oh, that's a YA series.
Still,
that's more romance, but that's by Cassandra Clare. That's really good. They're actually being made into movies right now.
What's the name of it?
The name of it is... Oh, I have the book in the other room. I know this name. This name is...
The Clockwork Prince?
No, yeah, The Clockwork Prince is the name of the book. Thank you very much.
The Clockwork Prince is great. And I have to say that Girl Genius graphic novels are amazing. It's all steampunk. We were neighbors with them at WonderCon, but we've been fans of them for years.
They're wonderful people.
So we have to say Isaac Asimov, Ray Bradbury, and Girl Genius.
So there you go. There's some suggestions from the Winter Twins, and there's the Strand Prophecy. It's a whole series of books. Book 3 is coming. When is that going to come?
San Diego Comic-Con.
San Diego Comic-Con.
We start arranging, putting all the book together today, actually. We're very excited.
Okay, and of course, like you said, you do go to San Diego Comic-Con, WonderCons, and as many cons as you can. What's the next con besides San Diego that we can see you at?
Kamikaze.
Well, actually, that's after.
That's after.
San Diego's our next one.
San Diego's our next one, and then Kamikaze, and then as the months go on, we might go to other conventions that pop up. We just don't know yet. But we know for sure Kamikaze and San Diego Comic-Con.
And WonderCon. This was our first year in WonderCon. Loved it. Great.
Yeah, I was there. I missed you guys because I was busy, doing all the press stuff, going from one room to another, and that's actually how I heard about you guys. I got the press release saying that you were there. Comic-Con, WonderCon is usually here in San Francisco. That's where we are. You said this was your first time. What did you get a chance to walk around the floor, first of all?
Yes, we did.
We did. The great thing about being an exhibitor is that you have time before and after the convention to walk around without the crowds.
The bad thing about the exhibitor is when you actually get that time, you're so tired you want to sleep.
So at Comic-Con San Diego, we in the mornings, when we first get there, I think it's on a Thursday, we run around the entire convention as fast as we can. And I remember there was a Thor, like the giant Thor, was it hammer and throne that we were watching set up.
Oh, was it the throne and Thor?
Yes, it was great. But with WonderCon, we got to walk
Odin's Thor. I mean, Odin's throne.
Exactly. It was so cool. They were craning it in. We were like, woo! Life-size Bumblebee.
We were geeking out. Fun.
Yeah,
okay.
I was going to ask you, at Comic-Con, I mean, you've been there. You know how huge it is. What did you think of WonderCon? Crowd-wise.
Well, you know what I liked about WonderCon is that at San Diego Comic-Con, it is so overwhelming, which is good, but it's you can't see everything. At WonderCon, you're able to see everything, and it's sort of like a bit of a smaller version of San Diego.
It was a taste of San Diego Comic-Con for us here in Orange County, which was great because we're in Orange County as well. We live very close to Anaheim. So I know there's a lot of people that hadn't been to conventions before they got to go, and especially a lot of kids that didn't know a lot about geek culture got to learn more about it. I think we were right across, our booth was right across from Marvel
and DC,
which was great. And those booths were amazing. And there was just the best of San Diego Comic-Con.
And considering that it was its first year here, it was awesome.
Great.
Because, usually first-year shows have trouble. This was great. They really did a great job.
I hope that they'll keep it here in Anaheim, or they'll create another one. I know that you're hearing about.
Yeah, the funny thing was there were a lot of cosplaying cheerleaders and volleyball players, too. That was kind of weird.
Yeah. I think we saw a lot of great costumes as well. But
wait, cosplaying volleyball players?
Wait,
what?
You didn't notice there was a tournament going on at the same time?
Oh, I thought that was cheerleading. And I did see some zombie cheerleaders as well, and volleyball players.
But I always have the zombie sports people.
Yes. I did. We saw the cheerleaders. Were they volleyball? That was right next door?
No, they were having a big competition next door. I met some of the families because they were walking through.
It was fun. I know at one convention we did, I forgot which one, but it was a comic convention. There was a coffee convention next door.
And it smelled awesome and you couldn't get in. Keep smelling.
You walk by and the aroma of coffee comes. Or a big fashion convention, because we love clothing as well. There's all these
That's
amazing...
one in New York. When we were in New York, there was a big fashion convention next to the
AppleCon, big AppleCon, which was great. But the coffee convention... That was classic, because everyone is sitting there trying to, we're trying to sell books, we're trying to, do geek things, and the smell of coffee was overwhelming.
So it's Brittany and Brianna winner. The Winter Twins. The book is the one I read. It's a Strand Prophecy. There's a couple more coming. You can just look in our book club section. It's all on there. Links to everything. Links also to motivatetolearn.org will be on there. Thanks a lot, ladies, for coming on. Wish you continued success, and you're welcome back anytime on the Geek Speak Show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having us. We had a great time.
Likewise. So thank you, and take care.
Okay, bye. Bye.
Bye-bye. The Winter Twins, Brittany, Brianna. It's again, Strand Prophecy. That's my book. See, I had a book this time. Not only did I have a book, I brought not an authors, two of them. So there you go. Beat that.
Well, you've really showed us up now.
Yeah, I don't know if we can beat that now.
Oh, no, now the bar is set. Now we gotta, just jump over it.
Or, like the dictator in the trailer, you can just shoot people around you and let the bar come to you.
That's true.
I'm okay with that.
I'm all right with taking out the bar with a high kick and then just what, and then lowering it, and then I can just step over it like a kung fu master.
Well, I guess we better talk about our books now, since how he set the bar, as he says.
That's true.
All right, so mine this week, actually inspired by, we were talking about Avengers, going to the movie, talking about how they started in the comics and that whole world. So I went back a little bit, and I want to talk about the Jedi Apprentice series, written by Jude Watson. It takes back to Obi-Wan as a teenager. So he's the Padawan of Qui-Gon, kind of just starting out, goes through all kinds of stuff that they went through together, and it really gives you insight to Obi-Wan's character. Where he kind of strays from the Jedi Order more than one time. There's twice there. And it might have been for a girl. It's possible.
I'm shocked. This is my shocked face.
Yes. And there's all kinds of cool stuff. Different worlds, different people that you end up seeing later on in video games, in the movies and stuff. And it just kind of brings backstory so you can understand stuff a lot better. I really like it. It is geared towards a younger generation. But either way, it's Obi-Wan. It's about him. So if you love him, like I do, definitely recommend Jedi Apprentice.
Excellent. Now, I, on the other hand, have spent my entire last week reading comic books. I got sort of on a Captain America kick. I don't know why. Might have had a small influence. So I went out and I picked a bunch of trade paperbacks. But because the last time I brought in a comic book, I got chastised. So I decided to outsource to Twitter. You can follow me at AKA Geek Girl on Twitter. And I went ahead and I asked my friends, and they came back. Oh my goodness, they had so many great recommendations. So they come back to me with at AdNate suggested Wind Up Girl by Paolo. Oh, I can't even pronounce that last name. It's very Italian. be that's never going to work. But Henry's going to put the spelling out on the website, and then you guys can check that out.
And I'll help Arielle with her Italian pronunciation later.
Yeah, well, it'll need to be like remedial lessons, obviously. I also have a recommendation from @TheOneTrueBix for Threshold or Alabaster, both by Caitlin Kiernan. And that also has a tie-in comic book, which I particularly loved. The Darcy Flanagan comic books, which has a second issue coming out. It is, in fact, looking amazing, and I'd recommend it.
That's the traditional pronunciation.
And I would recommend that comic book if I was allowed to recommend comic books. But we also had a few others. The Bone Dolls Twin by Lynn Flewelling and John Jude Palancar, Tigana by Guy Gavriel K, Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, and finally Snow White Blood Red Anthology by Ellen Datlow and Terry Windling. So a lot of suggestions from my Twitter friends today.
A lot of comic book suggestions, huh?
No, only from me. These are all proper novels with words and no pictures.
Would have think it was like a big comic book movie that came out or something.
You know, there might be some sort of influence like, oh, hey, there was a great movie, and now I kind of want to know more about the backstory. Seriously, Captain America is awesome.
Why would a comic book movie, make you want to buy comic books? That just doesn't happen.
That's the Geek Speak Show Book Club. Tell us what your favorite books or graphic novels are. Books at thegeekspeakshow.com.
All right, everybody calm down. So, Free Comic Book Day just finished. That's what I was talking about there, about a comic book movie not making you want to read comics. That's the whole goal of Free Comic Book Day. Bring in, like me, who used to read comic books, and I went away for a while because life got in the way, and I tried to play the cool DJ. Yeah, good luck with that. But I did come back. The first Free Comic Book Day is what brought me back, because it's not just stick figure comic books and say, hey, here's your free comic book. New series, new titles actually do get launched on Free Comic Book Day. So there was actually, and Brian Michael Bendis did an Avengers tie-in, not to the movie, but it is going to launch in an event. That's if we didn't need any more for Marvel. So check that. If you missed it, by the way, well, go with a nice smile. Maybe take Arielle or Rachel with you. Have them do that twinkle in their eye thing that they do, and that smile, and say, "Do you have any free comic books left from Free Comic?" I couldn't make it because whatever. Make an excuse. Maybe they'll have them for you.
That doesn't always work.
It has to be
surprised.
YouTube. If it's a guide, probably it's not going to work.
Oh no! In the right story, just bat those long, pretty boy eyelashes, and I'm sure you can get what you want.
Oh, I thought you were going to say in the right store, as long as it's in San Francisco or something. But
it depends on where you go.
You had a video game thing.
I do have a video game thing, because it turns out books are not your only entertainment option these days. I know we're all shocked and we still all love to read, but I am sort of a beginning gamer. I've never really played a lot of games. I grew up playing Nintendo or watching my brother play Nintendo more often than not. But lately I've been getting into games, and somebody a couple of years ago introduced me to Diablo 2, which was a 10-year-old video game. But it turns out I really liked it because you could click and then you stab things. I played a Jabazon, and it was really fun because I was like, stab, 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 kill it, kill it. And it wasn't very difficult. And it turns out that I really enjoyed playing through the storyline and being in that world and playing with those characters.
Should I be concerned that you enjoy stabbing people?
Well, just don't arm me with anything pointy and you're probably safe.
Understood.
Put that pen down.
Yeah, they actually just have to put oven mitts on my hands when I come in and record, so I don't accidentally hurt anyone, including myself.
It's kind of funny.
I look adorable with my giant hands. That all being said, I was really excited to hear that Diablo 3 was coming out, and I was nervous, is it going to be what I like about the original game? And so when the beta was released a few weekends ago, I jumped on that, and I played through the beta, and it was my first time sort of playing with an MMO. I got online with a friend of mine, and we played through the adventure together. And it was really fun. I really enjoyed the new version. The storyline in the beta looks like it's going to be fun. There's references to the old games so that you get that follow through in the story. But it is a new place, and it's a new thing to save. And I really enjoyed it. The quality of life improvements on it are really nice. They did a few things so you're not managing your inventory too badly. Like there's always going to be inventory Tetris, but it's a lot easier this time through. And there's returns home are easier. Things that make playing the game easier, and there's less tricky, weird stuff. So I really recommend it. I want you guys to jump on that and play through, and maybe in a couple of weeks when I decide that I don't suck too badly, I'll let you guys know what my handle is, and you can find me on the server. Yee!
And I do know that pre-orders for the game are selling out everywhere, so if you are interested or you heard this and thought this would be an awesome idea, jump on that.
Yeah, no, it's going to be huge.
Diablo
3
is what it is. So let me take a little break. Let's reset here and tell them what's happening. Short show, as you guys can tell. Good thing we're gonna take a break. I can't talk, but we're gonna reset. I'm gonna tell you all what's happening next week and into next weekend. Huge show, jam packed with guests and all kind of stuff. Well, just stay right there. You'll find out exactly what it is.
The Geek Speak Show will be right back.
Yeah, I said that.
On the weekend of May 19th and 20th, Northern California's biggest premier two-day comics event comes to the San Jose Convention Center. Big Wow Comic Fest. Big Wow Comic Fest is a comics convention that highlights comic books and comic book artists. Check out some of the guests. Jim Lee, Steve Niles, Frank Cho, Sergio Aragones, Ryan Sook, Thomas Jane, Terrence Zadunich, Jane Weedlin, and more. Visit BigWowComicFest.com for a complete list of guests, plus a full schedule of programming and panels. Big Wow Comic Fest 2012 also has costume contest, an art auction, the Avengers Museum Art Show, giveaways, live art, and much more. This is a Comic Con the way it should be, for comic books and comic book fans. Get tickets and information at www.bigwowcomicfest.com. Big Wow Comic Fest.
We interrupt this program to bring you important news.
The secret hashtag of the week is...
What, too loud?
What? No. Yes, it was.
You're the one screaming Hulk and all that stuff, but...
I gave you warning to pull your headphones away from your ears.
So did I. When the commercial's playing and I say, hang on, we're coming back, that's what that means. We're back, everybody. Welcome back to the Geek Speak Show.
We're about to explode them.
So what is the secret hashtag, anybody?
What is...
I know
what the secret hashtag is.
Let them know.
Oh, you want them to know? But then I can't win the free tickets.
Okay,
you couldn't win them anyway.
Oh, man.
Okay, surprisingly, it is Big Wow Free Ticks.
That's Ticks with an X.
That's right.
That's right.
That was shocking.
I know. We're so full of suspense.
So let's finish up this short show today. Thanks again to Andrew Farago. Don't forget Avengers. Like, you could forget about Avengers. Avengers Assemble, the exhibit. Not the movie, the exhibit. Although the movie is playing around the corner from the Cartoon Art Museum. But the exhibit starts this Saturday, May 12th, running through October. Part 1, I should say, because after Big Wow, which you can get tickets if you know the secret hashtag, because I know it, they know it. Do you? You can get tickets and go there May 19th and 20th, San Jose Convention Center. Just about everybody will be there. No Hollywood stuff, just comics. What a concept. Comic convention about comic books. But Avengers Assemble will start May 12th at the Cartoon Art Museum, 655 Mission Street. Thanks again, Andrew Farago, for coming on. Thanks to the Winter Twins. Told you I would get a book. Not only did I get a book, I got the authors on. So.
Yes.
Bravo.
You showed us up. Good job, you.
So I'm sensing a trend here. You always get Whedon-esque books. You get Star Wars books. Here's a challenge to you. Ever heard of Timothy Zahn?
I have heard of Timothy Zahn.
And like I said, I brought authors on. Hint, hint. There you go. Pick up and go from there.
Ooh,
so,
I hear a hint. Did you
next
hear a
week?
Hint? I heard it.
Next week, what are we gonna do?
Next week?
How would I know? I don't even know what I'm doing an hour from now. But we're gonna get warmed up for Big Wow Comic Fest. We are, like I said, giving away tickets. Next week, we'll talk to Steve Wyatt, who is putting the whole thing on for us. And we'll also talk to maybe Frank Cho, maybe Jim Lee, a lot of the people that are going to be there, including some of the exhibitors. We'll get you ready and excited to go. If you're not going yet, go to BigWowComicFest.com. All the information is on there. You can get the tickets, or you can get it from us if you know the secret hashtag.
Big Wow Free Ticks.
Big Wow Free Ticks.
There's twice, so you can't say you don't know it. So just post it up on our Twitter, on our Facebook, and we will pick you and give you the last pair of tickets. So that's what we'll do. Also, just because I'm getting tired, I need a break from all this free comic book day and watching the Avengers like 50 times in one day.
You need a break?
Yes.
I thought this was an enforced vacation.
No, you too. How would you like to go solo? Han Solo.
Well, I'd like to go Han Solo, but I don't think that's what he means. I think he means he's going to give up the control board over to us.
Uh-oh.
That's going to be dangerous and also awesomely fun.
When you said that, first visual I got was, remember Galaxy Quest when they're coming out of the space dock?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
They scratch the ship.
That's pretty much what's going to expect. It'll be amazing. It will be wonderfully well produced. Thankfully, because other people will be here and helping me, right?
Right.
Okay, so that's what's coming up then. So next week, definitely we're going to get you guys ready for Big Wow Comic Fest in San Jose, May 19th and 20th. We will be there covering it like we cover all the geek events here in the Bay Area. So you'll see it on our YouTube page. Don't forget also, though, speaking of YouTube page, the Geek Speak Video Show. Pretty obvious what that is. You get to see us this time. Well, look at Arielle and Rachel. You don't want to see me. I do have you face for radio.
He's got an adorably dimply cheek. You just want to pinch it.
YouTube.com/GeekSpeakVideos. It'll be on there. The first one, I'm thinking probably in June. Not sure exactly where we're going to start, but if you guys want to suggest a few, your comic book store, as long as it's in the Bay Area, we're not traveling to New York or Montana or anywhere else. Yet. Let us know. Comments at thegeekspeakshow.com. Comments at thegeekspeakshow.com, or send it to one of us. All our contact info is on there. Our blood type, all that stuff. It's all on there on the contact page. And so that's what's happening. In a couple of weeks, you will get to hear the girls
take over.
Go solo. Han Solo. So
you never know.
He keeps promising this. It's like the incentive.
I know. He's going to have to deliver at some point.
All right, fine. Napoleon Solo. He'll be easier to get than Harrison Ford. So that'll be in a couple of weeks. Be here or be square or whatever. We'll see you then. Everybody say bye.
Bye.
That's all for this week. Come back next week for a brand new episode. Follow the Geek Speak Show on Twitter at Geek Speak Show 1. Like them on Facebook. Subscribe in iTunes. And listen to archived shows on YouTube. Search for Geek Speak Videos. The Geek Speak Show is powered by Collider.com, RamaScreen.com, and GeekTyrant.com. This is now the Geek Speak Show.